Welcome back to the Playdown podcast. So we have an interesting show. This is actually our second time trying to do this episode because apparently we did an entire episode and never recorded it. So we're going to try this again. Uh, I'm in a hotel room. Tom is at his house. We're just going with this. This will be a condensed version of what we just kind of did, and we're just having fun tonight, boys and girls. We'll see how this all falls down at the end. Tom, I do not have a drink tonight. I'm hoping you do, because if you do, please have another, because it's that kind of night.
I do. I definitely do. I have my red wine tonight. My Cam Hughes Cabernet, enjoying it, and hopefully we'll be able to get some sort of a semblance of a good show here. Tell me where you are, where you're located, because I know
I am in Atlantic City. I am at Harrah's. I have a technology conference that I go to every year. I've been actually going since 2004 I'm in ed tech. So I'm at my conference and we're doing a podcast in the hotel room. I'm hoping the internet stays well enough where we can make this happen. But we're going for it. It is what it is. We're having fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell me a little bit about that. That hat looks like a new hat. Is that the?
This is a new hat. This is the Brian Bros. Obviously, anyone that listens to this podcast knows I am a huge Brian Bros fan. Yeah. Brian Bros Golf, and they did a merch drop. And listen, I'm a sucker for merch. So if they drop it, I'm buying it. And I bought the hat.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
but I do like. I love the colors of this one. Who you got tonight?
I've got Illinois tonight.
Wait. Am I saying this correctly? Is that not a Syracuse hat?
It's not Syracuse tonight. I have to take a little break from wearing their hat. Last week we wore it. They've lost. They managed to lose a couple more games since then. 3 games actually. And it is, not that I'm not just abandoning Syracuse, but they are just struggling and they are poorly coached, and it's been brutal run of about 6 years. The Illinois team.
Red's not getting it done.
No, he's not. So I'm wearing Illinois. My daughter went to Illinois, graduated from there. So I have multiple teams I root for. And Illinois, just watched them play. And I said, I'm going to break out the Illinois hat tonight. So
I don't blame you.
That's the story.
All right, let's first thing we got going on, we have our one and done contest, which is not on the stage, but I will bring it up real quick. Again, we are running a one and done contest. Please join our one and done contest. It is on the screen. It is
it's up there.
It's up there. It's on the screen. Scan that QR code. It is completely free to join. We have about 10 guys or 10 people that have joined so far. We would like in that 20 to 30 range. I think that'll make a good contest for us. Yeah. So please, even if you're not a golf fan, join the contest. It's free. You can win some swag. Who knows what else you can win? We'll be changing it up. We'll have all different sorts of prizes and stuff. So definitely, please just scan the QR code and or click the link in the description and join our contest.
It starts next week with a waste management tournament, right? So
it'll start with the waste management. I believe it's February 3rd or 4th or 5th or one of those days. But please join.
Yeah.
All right. We are now going to go to our boneheads, which are not coming up on the screen because I have to add it because we had an entire disaster. And then I go and remove myself there for a second. Sorry about that. This is going to be an awesome episode. So yes, we have boneheads. We're going to start with good old.
Well,
there it is.
Yeah. So a couple things on the boneheads this week, right? So we're going to have 2. It seems like every week we say, hey, we might not do boneheads. We always just realize that we have to do them because there's too many of them to choose from, and we can't avoid not doing a bonehead segment. And
it's hard sometimes.
It really is. Before we get into the 2 for this week, and we only have 2, I have to. I could have put myself in this bonehead segment this week. If you remember, Scooter, last week we broke out the display for the of the podcast, which basically was a display that showed the first bonehead segment, the time, the date, right? I gave a shout out to my niece Madeline, who had done a lot of work on getting that whole thing set up for me. It was a Christmas gift, but the Christmas gift was really not just from her. It was from all three nieces, Bella, Natalie, and Madeline. And, I don't know if you've done this before, but you see people stand up and they thank people, they give them a shout out, and they leave people off the list. And it always comes back to haunt them. So
bite in the butt a little bit.
Yeah. And Natalie, who was left off, it listens every week to the podcast. So we don't want to lose listeners. We don't want to bypass people. So shout out to all three of them for the great Christmas gift. We're going to have that on display in the studio every week, right? It's going to sit in the studio, and it's going to be one of the key, things that we display. So needed to make that apology and correction. And now I think we can move forward to the actual boneheads of the week. Since I did not make myself one, we just have two.
Yes. So the first one is obviously going to be Woolen, and I'm going to go off camera for a second. So Tom, I'm going to let you talk about this just because I have to make a quick change. So Tom,
okay, very good.
Talk about Woolen.
Yeah. So the two boneheads, right? This is one actually a player from a winning team. So as everyone knows, Seattle won against the Rams 31-27 and is going to the Super Bowl. But at one point late in the third quarter, or could have been even early in the fourth quarter, the score was 31-20 in favor of the Seahawks, and they made a stop. And the Rams were in a position where they had a 4th and 12 and had to punt. So down 11, having to punt. And after the stop, this guy, Tariq Woolen, decided it was a good idea to go over and taunt the Ram sideline. And he went over and taunted the Ram sideline. And it's one thing to sort of do a quick run by and sort of give a little bit of a, kind of a cameo, like, we got you, and keep moving. He decided he was going to make it a long, obvious taunting. And finally, the referee, after giving him kind of a little bit of runway, threw the flag. 15-yard penalty. And by the way, Stafford was on the sidelines watching this. He'd already come off the field. The punting team was already on the field. And now this flag gets thrown. And I'm like, what the heck just happened? And then the announcers, explain what happened. And you see this guy put his hands in his helmet and like, oh my God, what have I just done? Gave the Rams a first down. And on the next play, a bomb to Puka on a great catch for a touchdown. Extra point is good. 31-27. Rams right back in the game.
Right back in the game.
Yeah. So even though Seattle wins, we can't excuse the Boneheads move just because you won. If you'd lost the game, it probably would have made it into if you're results oriented, the Bonehead would have been more magnified. Instead, this guy escapes it. And I also think he's the one that got burned on the pass reception right after it.
He absolutely did.
He was the guy. So
he absolutely did. It was completely justifiable that he got burned on it. So I was in Boca Raton visiting my son on Sunday, and he wouldn't let me watch the game with him, which again, whatever. He needed to watch the game by himself in his dorm room because he's at college. But he did come see me after the game, and we spent 45 minutes talking about this play and how upset he was with Tariq Woolen. And again, my son listens to there's this whole podcast with the Seahawks or the Hawkcast, whatever they call it. And he's a diehard Seahawk fan. So kudos to him and the Seahawks making it to the big game. But it was a 45-minute discussion of how he really wanted to dislike and kill Tariq Woolen for being that
This
much of a
is
bonehead.
this is really, I mean, this sounds like it would be your son, based on
Yeah.
how well I know you. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?
It does not. No, not from a passionate sports fan. It doesn't. Uh, so congrats, Tariq. You're number 2. You are not number 1 because your boneheaded, clueless action did not cost you the game. However, the number 1 boneheaded, clueless action is Sean Payton.
Our buddy Sean Payton. Yeah. And this guy has been, in this segment before. Now, oftentimes he's been in the segment because he's the opposing coach. Like, we go to the Titan coach, Brian Callahan, who lost his job. Game 1 was one of our first boneheads. He wasn't the very first one, because the first segment was back, as the display will tell us, was back in August. And the NFL didn't open until September. So it was maybe the third bonehead segment. But in any event, Peyton seems to be appearing in these segments either as the opposing coach, where he himself could have been a bonehead, but got out boneheaded by other coaches. Well, this week he did not get out boneheaded. He got out coached by Mike Vrabel, who made no mistakes and just took what was given to him, like he has all season, as others just throw mistakes at the New England Patriots, and they just keep winning. Well, Denver has had the same luck. They've won games against bad teams that they barely beat, against good teams that they do beat. They play to the level of their competition, and they made it into the championship game. I'm still bitter about the game they won against the Bills. They got their comeuppance this week when Sean Payton decided, with a backup quarterback up 7-0 and everything going well, and I've got a 4th and 1, I'm going to go for it. Now, it's not so much did he go for it, it's he went for it at the play call with a backup quarterback, and just the whole sequence of events that led to a stop and prevented his team from going up 2 scores. And I think, based on everything that he should have known, the weather coming in later in the game, the backup quarterback, the fact that New England was going to have some trouble moving the ball against his defense, take the 2-score lead. Credit to Roma, who I don't give credit to very often, called right before the kick. He's like, if it was me, I'd take the points. This is before the 4th down actually happened. It wasn't like he said it after. So I think that there was an opinion here that, are you really going to do this when you have a chance to go up 10-0? And I think these coaches who think they're the smartest guy in the room,
that's the problem,
or that their decision is going to follow straight analytics, don't take all the variables into account. There's some intuition in this. And I think Peyton does have intuition in addition to being an aggressive coach. But sometimes you have to look at all the variables. And if you're going to go for it, do you take your quarterback and have him drop back against a team that you know is going to blitz him? It just didn't make any sense. The guy had no chance to convert that on a 4th and 1.
And that's the problem. If your 4th and 1 play is a screen pass to the right side, kick the field goal. Because if your 4th and 1 play isn't, we know we can gain 1 yard with our backs and our offensive line, then kick the field goal. That's it. So I was at a bar. I was at Hooters, actually, in Boca Raton, one of the few Hooters that's still out there. And I was sitting next to Denver Bronco fans, 3 of them, 3 or 4 of them. And their sentiment was they were okay going for it on 4th and 1. No one liked the play call, so let me state that. But they were okay going for it. But if it was 4th and 2, they would have kicked. Well, if it's 4th and 2 and you would have kicked, then kick the field goal. Take the points.
I don't know the 4th and 1 versus 4th and 2. I think the fact that it's 4th down, unless you've got, a quarterback sneak for.
Unless you're doing the tush push and you're Philadelphia, who converts it 90% of the time.
Or you're Josh Allen, who can get a yard every time, right?
Yes. But it was it was a bad play call and it was a bad move. So yes, Sean Payton, you are our number one bonehead.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I know you're listening because you have time now because you're not preparing for anything else.
No, he's sure
so
not.
now you know why you're a bonehead because you freaking should have kicked it. You're
I think he will be listening. He's going to be listening. There's no doubt about it.
He can learn.
He can learn from us.
I mean,
a lot of people can.
It's all we do is teach people. That's all we do, Tom. We just teach people.
You're even teaching people about live golf up in Mount Tabor. They're all very at the edge of their seat trying to get your insights. So yeah,
my passion. And speaking of live golf and golf in general, let's add Brooks Koepka to the mix. Yeah, I gotta change our little where are we? What do I want? I don't know what I want. I don't know anymore. Not that one. This thing is all messed up.
I think you had it.
I'll get there. There we are. That'll work. Who cares? So we have the Farmers Insurance Open this week. Brooks Koepka makes his return. Weather should not be really a factor this week. You got 5 to 10 mile an hour winds, partly sunny, mostly sunny the first few days. You have clouds and a little cooler on Sunday, but we'll see how that goes. Obviously, there's 2 courses at Torrey Pines. This tournament is played in San Diego, California. You got 2 courses. I'll bring up the other slide real quick here.
Yep.
And we'll go with that one. What was I gonna say? So it's over 7,200 yards or 7,700 yards. I think you mentioned, Tom, earlier that that's just the
north course. The south is easier.
Yes,
the north is easier. The north is easier, and I think the north might be the 7,200, but the south is over 7,700, and they got to play 3 rounds of the 4 on the south course. So your graphic here is the primary course that they're going to be dealing with, definitely, and I think you've identified it, Scooter. It's driving accuracy and distance together, along with putting. You've got to be able to do those 2 things on that south course. And if you struggle with the putter or you are in the rough, you're gonna have a long tournament. You may be a short tournament because you might not make it past Friday.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep. But also bringing up PGA. Obviously, the big news out today was Patrick Reed is leaving Live Golf. He is going to have full-time status on the DP World Tour. He does not have status on the PGA Tour. He will be able to gain status on the PGA Tour as a returning champion in mid to late August. And the rules that they're stating and why he's not being suspended for an entire year, even though people like Wesley Bryan are suspended an entire year, is that they're stating that since he resigned his PGA membership prior to joining Live by a day, that allows him to come back in mid to late August as a returning champion without having to pay any fines. Yes, he gives up equity, participation in the PGA equity program, but which is all irrelevant because he's clearly got the money from Live. So
I think he's got plenty of money. Yeah, I think he's got plenty of money.
He's fine. He's fine. Let's go over our bets real quick for the Farmers Insurance Open. Let me pull that slide up real quick. We have our slide for our bets, Farmers Insurance. Here it is.
Yep.
Here it comes. There it is. Okay.
Yep.
It's up there. Tom, I'll let you go first.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about what do we need to have on this course, right? We have to have driving accuracy and distance together, and we have to have we have to have putting. Now, the third variable is course history and familiarity. Seems to be an important element. Course fit. Now, there are guys that have won, like Pavon, who won this tournament a couple of years ago. I think Harris English won it last year. These are long shots who you wouldn't necessarily say, hey, man, they've got great course, fit, and they've played here for, like Patrick Cantley is from that area, right? He's played these courses a lot. He's familiar with them. So they're the more, I think to me, they're the better guys to have on your card, but you can have some long shots on your card and you may find, you may get lucky. So what I did this week is I kind of merged it and I looked at the guys that I think are playing well in general, who fit this course, who have the drive, and who are good putters. And I came up with Cantley, Jason Day, and Wyndham Clark. Now, Clark's putter can go kind of hot and cold, but he's been playing well. And
he has.
And
he had a shot last week.
He did. And he was going into, I put an in-play bet on him on Friday at 26-1. He had a good Saturday. And then he kind of did struggle on Sunday, but it wasn't terrible. He was basically even par.
No one's catching Scotty. It's becoming kind of sad just even watching him playing tournaments at this point.
I know. I'm glad he's not in this one because we have a chance to win some bets. Yeah. So anyway, I Cantley 24-1, Jason Day 33-1, Wyndham Clark 43-1. These are the best odds I could find on these guys, and they're all on DraftKings. I was looking at 4 different accounts. A lot of these are lower on other accounts. So look around, whatever accounts you have, to get your best odds. And then I took a real long shot again on DraftKings at 170-1 on Finau, who's as low as 100-1 on FanDuel. He's playing terrible, but he has played this. Yeah, but he's played these courses well in the past. I feel like he's turning the corner slightly. I think he had some ankle surgery. He's a guy who I don't think he's like, you dismiss him as he's done. So I'm going to you don't have to throw much money on this one to get a nice payment at 170-1.
Yeah.
And then top 20s, Patrick Rogers, who's a bomber, never won a tournament on the tour, but I'm getting 2.5-1 almost on him for top 20. Max Homa, that's a typo. That says 23-1. It's 2.3-1. But again, top 20, not to win it. Just these two guys, if either or both of them get into the top 20, I'm going to win cash on them. And then I took a long shot parlay, top 40, 5-1 on Theegala and Finau. So
again, I like the Theegala pick.
The reason I'm getting 5-1 though is I got Finau in it. If I just did Theegala, it's even money.
Yeah.
So that, by the way, there is an extra 0 on that as well as on Homa. So it's really 5-1 and 2.3.
Oh no, 5-1 is so it's plus 500, not 510.
Yeah. Well, it's 5,010, not 50,100. I see an extra 0 there. So again, you get 5-1 on the parlay. And if those two guys get in the top 40, that's probably going to roughly pay for my weekend. One thing about this, guys, is your outright winners should have a lower, unit bet than your top 20s or top 40s.
Whatever your unit is. So if your unit is typically $20, $50, or $10, whatever your unit is, whenever we talk about a winning bet in golf, it's a quarter unit. It's a half unit at the most.
Yeah, exactly. You might do a little more on Cantlay, for example, and on Finau, you might do an 1/8 of a unit or a 1/10 of a unit. You're just,
right, of course.
You got to kind of, you're modifying. You got
to play. You're just modifying.
Yeah.
So on my side, I didn't go with a winner. I know Xander Schauffele is the betting favorite for this tournament, but I didn't see any value on winners. They're pretty much, when I mess around with my bottles a little bit, and again, I always put more emphasis on putting usually or accuracy. And I threw a little bit more emphasis on course fit this week instead of course history. But there was just no value in the winners. They were just what they were. So I wasn't feeling any winners. So I stuck with my top 10 bets. I saw some value in these. I saw the most value with Wyndham Clark, which is why I took him at plus 400. I got Siwoo Kim, who's actually playing pretty well. He was in the top 10 last week. I believe did he finish? Yeah, no, he finished sixth. I think it was T6 last week. And he was leading that tournament most of the tournament until Scotty ran away with it on Sunday. And I took a Hideki Matsuyama as well at plus 280. Then I did a couple of 3-ball competitions with Rico Hui at plus 160 and Max Homa. Max Homa is going up against Brooks Koepka and Ludwig Ulberg. It's a plus 220. Oberg is obviously the betting favorite, and Brooks is the least favorite, but I took Max Homa because I gotta be honest with you, I'm annoyed with Brooks leaving Live and going back to PGA. If I could have found a bet where he missed the cut, I would have took it, but there wasn't one. However, there was a bet for a playoff. I kind of am digging this little will there be a playoff bet? I like the odds of 4-1.
I actually like that bet too.
I mean, there wasn't a playoff last week because Scotty ran with it.
Yeah,
but up until that Sunday, I really thought that playoff bet I had last week was well in play. It turned out it wasn't because Scotty ran away with it. He was 6 strokes ahead at one point, and then he put a ball in the water on a par 3 and took a double bogey and ended up winning by 4 instead of 6. But obviously, he wasn't really in any danger of losing that at that point.
4-1 does feel like a pretty nice, pretty.
I like 4, right? Yeah, like 10 to win 50.
Here's the other thing: the scores here are not going to be as good. So you're going to have a tighter. You're going to be tighter.
Absolutely.
Maybe 13 under, 14 under is the winner. So I think a playoff on something where you've got a little bit more tightness to the range. Where somebody might not be able to run out to 25 under or 30 under, allows for a higher chance. And I think you had the same odds last week. So I actually think I might tail that bet at 4-1 for a playoff. I like it. Yeah. And I like the fact that we've got Clark and Homa, different bets on them, but we're kind of got some cross,
we're seeing the same thing
here. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so a couple of news and notes from the NFL as we pivot away from what do you call it? the golf tournament this weekend. Tom, what was your thought about Bill Belichick not making the Hall of Fame? Any
I mean, I think everybody's got a lot of thoughts on that, and I don't think any of them. It doesn't. It's a joke, whether you like the guy or not, it's just hard to believe that you could not put him in the Hall of Fame, right? To me, if you're not going to vote,
what more could you do?
Yeah,
what more
you got 8. You got 8 Super Bowls if you count where he was a coordinator. And I know there's people that hate New England and are tired of Belichick, and I think some of the voters, the only thing I can think of is it was personal, right? And Belichick,
he was always the way he was with the media.
Well, but he's done himself very little favors, right? He's banned New England to coming in, scouts from coming into his facility in North Carolina. But look, all that's got to be put aside when you're making a decision about whether a guy, has earned his right into the Hall of Fame. And if you're going to allow these small little infractions that I know are the other part of it as to why you might say, hey, should this guy really be in? Come on, the body of work that he's done with that
body of work has to play.
Yeah, you can't not, And you're not a Belichick fan, but it's just
I hate the guy.
It feels like it's a joke to me that you really couldn't get enough votes to get him into the Hall of Fame as a first balloter. But
listen, and what I'm hearing is that they're trying to use the whole Deflategate and the cheating, the so-called, tape. The tape.
Is that you mean the deflating of the ball when they won 45-7? That the ball mattered in that game? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're trying to use that against them. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, then Brady better not get in on the first ballot. But right? Because he's
this is what I mean. I think likability is the other thing that drives a lot of this. It shouldn't. But
it shouldn't.
Things are personal.
He should be he should have been a first ballot Hall of Fame. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer as a coach, then no coach ever will be. Right?
Right. And yet there probably will be.
and sadly, and this pains me to freaking say, but sadly, we are going to move to The New England Patriots.
Who
Because
again are ready to start their
they
new
are
run. Scooter.
again in the big game. So I was talking to Tom, and I had this slide created, and Tom goes, "Are you serious? 9 of the 14 coaches they face are being replaced?" I'm like, "Yep." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Here, let me tell you who." So I'm going to go through their entire schedule this week. Week 1, Las Vegas, fired head coach. Week 2, Miami, fired head coach. Week 3, Pittsburgh. All right, not fired, but the coach resigned. Week 4, Carolina, they're safe. That coach is safe. Week 5, Buffalo, fired head coach. Week 6, New England, still safe. Week 7, Tennessee.
Wait a minute, New England. You said no, not New England.
I said New England. New Orleans. New
You meant
Orleans.
New
Sorry. I meant New Orleans. Well, New England is safe too, but New
Yes.
Orleans, he is safe. Week 7, Tennessee, fired head coach. Week 8, Cleveland, fired head coach. Week 9, Atlanta, fired head coach. And here's the stretch of no firings. Week 10, 11, and 12 are Tampa Bay, who should not have fired their coach. I think Todd Bowles is okay there. However, week 11 and week 12, the Jets and Cincinnati Bengals, both those coaches probably should have been fired, but they were not. Week 13, I believe Brian Dable was already fired, but either way, the Giants fired their head coach.
It's amazing. It really
It's
is.
wild. Week 14, no one got fired. They had no game. That coach is safe. Week 15 and week 16, Buffalo and Baltimore both fired head coaches. Week 17, Aaron Glenn still has a job. He's safe. And finally, week 18, it was Miami again. And yes, Mike McDaniel is fired as well. So 9 of the 14 coaches have been fired that they face this year. Then we go into the playoffs, and we have the Chargers, who had no offensive line, and Justin Herbert was just running for his life for most of that game.
And was injured and had no
and injured.
Had one arm to throw with.
One arm. And still put up it wasn't much of a fight.
No, he did not.
No. I was trying to give him something, but there was nothing there. Then in the divisional round, they go against the Texans and CJ Stroud, and let's be honest, that was a horrific performance by CJ Stroud. I know you still have some hope for him. I'm waning very far into giving up on CJ Stroud.
By the way, he had no line either. He didn't.
Right. And Nico Collins is out, so he didn't have much of a receiving core either. I know that, but however, if he would have spiked the ball directly into the ground, he would have had a better QBR than what he actually had for the game. I'm just saying. And then finally, you have the championship weekend this past weekend where he went up against the Broncos with no Bo Nix
and a
knucklehead bonehead coach who thought he knew more than everyone else. So this is by far not the weakest team to make it to the big game. I think a lot of people would say the 2000 Giants were a very fortunate team to make it that far.
Yeah. When they got beat by the Ravens. I'll tell
when
you,
they got crushed by the Ravens.
This is eerily close to the first year Brady got into the Super Bowl, though.
It is.
Where they're playing against a team that's better than them. They have a chance, though, to make it close and win it. And on top of it, New England has had sort of a path that you just laid out here, which is unbelievably, I'm not going to say easy. You still got to win all those games. But the cakewalk relative to what other teams have had to face to get to Super Bowls, this is really unprecedented, right? Like that teams that, and by the way, the first game of the season where you mentioned Vegas and Pete Carroll getting fired
and Las Vegas
they lost that game by 20-10 at home. And I said, my view on New England's correct. They stink. They're going to go under the 6.5 alternate win total. And they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Their odds to go to that Super Bowl were astronomical.
Yeah.
If you'd ever been able to have a ticket on those guys, you'd be like, it's crazy the amount of money you could win.
Yeah. And the only
we've got a guy up at our club. I think that's got a ticket. The Tyler Alex event, I think has.
Yeah.
No, I don't think Tyler's got the ticket. I think Alex has the ticket.
Alex has the ticket. Yeah, that's an incredible ticket. I was gonna say something about yeah. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
That they're in this position. Because let's be honest, Buffalo. Not Buffalo, but like the Rams, the Seahawks, the Niners, almost any of those, even the Niners probably beat them, even with how injured they were with no Kittle and everything else.
I think Buffalo might have beat them too, but they didn't have. We didn't get to see that.
We didn't get to see
right?
it.
No.
Yeah. It is what it is. All right, we're going to move on. Our next thing we're going to talk about. So we went through NFL news, a couple of basketball futures. Tom has some stuff here. I'm going to throw that up on the screen. I think that's the correct info.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to read. It's not in a great format, but it's
again. My apologies for being in a hotel room.
Yeah, well, it's the Tom Jones. This is the Tom Jones slide. Now you're stuck with a Tom Jones slide. You don't get the scooter slide here. If you're watching, you're stuck with it. But we basically, these plays have all been released on this podcast at various times, and I thought it'd be interesting. This is only college basketball to just review what's been thrown out when we put them out versus where we sit today. So the stars, right, which are the plays that have improved significantly since the bets were made. Michigan released very early at 20-1, now 5-1, right? The team's only lost one game. They've crushed teams by 30 and 40 points earlier in the year. They're now in Big Ten play, and they're battling in games a little bit tighter, but they're still only one loss. Arkansas, I put them in at 27-1, playing pretty well, but you can get them at a better value today at 40-1. And it's John Calipari. He's got a good team. They're playing better every week. That might be a play you want to think about if you want a future. That's a pretty juicy one at 40-1. Arizona, I got it 35-1 after week one, after the first game. I saw them play Florida and beat them. And during that game, I put this future in. It was the first game of the year in November. They are now 4-1. They haven't lost.
They're the odds-on favorite.
Number one in the country.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, I watched them over Thanksgiving, and they were looking very impressive to me. I got some other intel on that team. At 80-1, I got them. Now, they were down as low as 20-1. They've lost a couple games. They've only lost 3 games. A good SEC team. You can get them at 35-1 today. Gonzaga was I put in at 15-1. They've only lost one game, but they've got a couple injuries. Michigan beat them badly in the one loss, but they're 21-1, I think. But you can still get that team at 20-1, and it might be Mark Few's best team when healthy. Alabama is pretty neutral.
But they'll disappoint you in the tournament.
They might. I liked them at 15-1, and I like them better at 20-1. But Alabama is a very, very offensive oriented team. They shoot a ton of threes. I took a flyer on them at 32-1. You can get them at 40-1. I wouldn't recommend that play right now. I don't know that they've got enough balance. St. John's, who was a very highly touted team early and then they lost a bunch of games, is now only got one loss in Big East play. I think the Big East is a little undervalued. 100-1, it's already dropped to 90-1. So if you like that team for a long shot, I'd get them soon. You don't want to wait, because if they keep winning games, it's just going to drop. It's Rick Pitino. This next one I really like, Texas Tech. They beat Duke. They gave Duke their only loss in a neutral site. I was able to gobble them up at 65-1, and they're already down to 35-1 because they just beat Houston this week. So they've beaten Duke and Houston. So, and that team is a team that's got a lot of new players, a really good coach. JT Topin is one of the best players in the country, and they've got a lot of guys around him that are really, really strong players, but it's taken a little while to gel. And then this Memphis team has been disappointing. They've had a lot of injuries. but that was like pizza money at 250 to 1, and they're floating around. I would not recommend putting a nickel on them. The other thing I'll talk about is real quick at the bottom, as I had the 4 conference play. You mocked me on Bethune-Cookman from the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
I did.
And I got them at 4.5 to 1. They are currently in first place. I don't know that the odds are posted right now in that conference, but I know that their record within the conference is the best right now. Arizona, again, not only did I get them at 35 to 1 for the championship, I got them at 9 to 1 to win the Big 12. They are now 1 to 3 almost.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, if that ticket cashes, that'll pay for a lot of these futures. And then Alabama, again, they're floating around at the same odds that I got them at. And Grand Canyon, the same thing in the Mountain West. Both teams they've got good records, but there's teams better than them. So their odds have not gotten shorter. And I wouldn't recommend throwing them in there now. The ones on here that I think you could probably feel good about maybe betting on if you want to take some long shots would be the St. John's at 90 to 1 and maybe Arkansas at 40 to 1. Just have them in your portfolio. 2 teams that have great coaches, Calipari and Pitino. And if they get hot, who knows? You might be able to like monetize that bet if they advance far enough.
Yeah.
So, the rest of these have had a lot of the life sucked out of them. You can do
I'm all upset you don't have Duke.
Well,
why don't you pick Duke before the season started? They're looking great.
Duke. You can put Duke on your futures board. They're not going on mine.
Yeah. So it's interesting because the one team that I've actually started looking at more, mainly because of football, was Miami of Ohio, and they're having a season. They're unreal. They are one of only 2 teams still undefeated, with Nebraska going down the other night to Michigan.
Yeah, I watched them last night, Scooter, and they were playing UMass, and UMass is an improving team. I think they were like 4-6 in the conference, but they have got some athletes, and they're 14-8 team or something like that, right? So they're home. That Miami of Ohio team, they can shoot the basketball, and they were struggling early, but they still put up, I think it was 86 points. They won the game 86-84, and they've got guys that are shooting the ball from 30 feet out. I mean, it's ridiculous. If there's nobody guarding them, and they've got multiple guys, and they move the ball around, and they are really an impressive team. Now, when they run up against a really athletic, long, lanky team like Arizona, they had trouble guarding inside. So I don't know that they're going to be a team you'd put a future on, but you could put, what you could do with them is find out what's their odds to get to the Final Four.
I was going to say like a Sweet 16 right? Final Four appearance, right? That's what you'd have to look for. Yeah,
right.
I agree.
Right.
I agree. All right, everyone. I know this is an interesting episode in general with us being not in the studio again. However, next week we will be back in the studio. We'll have a good show. We'll have a big preview of the big game coming up.
And we got the waste management. We got the start of the contest, right?
So I will throw the slide back up one more time here for the one and done contest. Let's add that. This QR code is on the screen. The link will be in the description. As always, follow us on our socials at Play It Down Golf on Instagram, TikTok, and all those fun stuff. Obviously, we have us on the Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Jonesy, thank you for bearing with our technical issues tonight. Yeah. I know we had a few.
Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
But we'll post and we'll go from there. All right, partner.
Good.
That's the episode. Yep. We're done.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Talk to you later, man. Bye.